Stephen King. This is Clive Barker. We are masters of horror in the latter part of the 20th century.
Absolutely, yeah.
Decadent bastards.
I would agree with that.
With absolutely no regard for the virtues, taste,
propriety,
right?
Excellence in literature and grammar.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know that stuff.
Basically, we're a couple of decadent.
To the channel, guys. I'm your host, Tommy the Hammer. Tonight I'm hanging out with Amber, Olivia, BC, Johnny Rocket. It's Spooktober on the channel again, per the usual, and we are going to be touching on a Clive Barker classic chosen by Olivia here. She has never seen the movie Hellraiser before whatsoever. What do you know about Pinhead, Clive Barker, and this prolific 1980s gore-tastic movie?
I know generally nothing other than watching the trailer.
Ooh. And when did you watch that?
Yesterday, actually.
Dang.
Oh, well, goddamn.
Talk about flying in blind or something.
She's flying in blind.
Wow, I know Rocket's a fan, I know BC's a fan, I'm a fan. Amber, how do you feel about this movie?
I just remember I've seen clips of one of them, I don't even know which one, when I was too young to have seen them, and I didn't like it. It was scary.
Yeah, it's
have such wonders to show you.
This is definitely some nightmarish stuff. The first time I've ever seen Hellraiser was back in the late 1980s. And we get home and we sit down with my dad, and the opening scene with the box and the chains and the guy screaming, my dad was literally like, nope, and like turned it off. And it wouldn't be for like another year or two before me and my brother actually got to see the movie again. But this is definitely one of the most definitive and iconic gore horror movies of all time, so I can't wait to watch it. I'm excited. You guys know this part. Peep that shit! We'll be right back, motherfuckers. I did not say that right at all.
Somewhere beyond the light and the dark, beyond our secret desires and deepest fears, lies the door beyond all our limits. We have such sights to show you. Hellraiser, there are no limits. Rated R.
The main thing about it that I like the most is its story. And yeah, you could say that the books of blood are better. But something about this movie and the actors, you know, Doug Bradley, the special effects, the notoriety of the movie really has its own appeal. And revisiting it all these years later, I'm able to look back on it and understand my childhood apprehension while at the same time gaining a completely new perspective of this movie altogether today, 2020. I mean, you're looking at these special effects that are definitely old school. You've got prosthetics, you've got the hands-on blood squibs, you've got the latex, you've got these deep characters that are definitely entrenched with Clive Barker's story, and yeah, the movie still moves at a very quick pace. You're not bored, and each and every little nightmare scene that kind of transpires is more interesting than the last. You've got these psychosexual elements.
This isn't the one when I was a kid, whatever scene I saw, this wasn't this one. But, I mean, it had the chains in it and stuff, but I don't know, I think the special effects and stuff, because they are older and because I liked that one show that's like, I've seen shows where they do special effects things and you get to watch them naked and stuff like that. And I think because of that, I like see it and I'm like more fascinated by it. I'm like, oh, I wonder how they did that.
Right, you were
then I'm like
the scenes,
terrified
right?
than what it is because they used real ones. And I will say, even though in today's standards they're not that good, they make the movie better when it's real. Everyone kept saying, you know, when it's real. And yes, they look a little shitty because it's from 1987. But the fact that it was physical in there is just it's just better than if it's like CGI'd in, because the actors actually have something to go off of.
I mean, I have just vague memories of watching this as probably like a preteen or just becoming a teenager, so I didn't really remember much. I really liked watching it now at this age. I feel like practical effects are unmatched. And then when there is a little bit of CGI, I actually kind of like when it's cheesy and they just go for it. And then in the 80s, that was the best that they had. But even now, like, I don't like this over-the-top CGI. I just like, I don't know, I feel like this is everything I want in like a Halloween type of movie. And I feel like one of the complaints that people could have about this is like not having a ton of time with Pinhead. But I actually like that aspect.
I think, although this was my pick, I obviously have never seen this before, as was said before. But I don't know what I was expecting, but but I would say this is more. I've liked all the Halloween picks we've watched so far, but I feel like this is more horror, I guess you could say, or more intense. I'm also glad I watched it because I don't have to watch it again. I don't know. There was just something about it that wasn't like, it just didn't tickle my fancy, I guess.
Fair enough.
But I can see a good, like I can recognize a good movie.
Dang. I mean, it's... I don't know if I've actually seen this one. Now that I've rewatched it, I think everything that I remember watching about Hellraisers with my buddy Sam, I think we were watching a number of the sequels. Because I know we watched a few of them, but I don't think we actually covered this one. Like, I really don't... If we did, I really don't remember it, honestly. So it was great to watch again and just kind of be able to take it in afresh, you know, and just... I don't know. I personally am really good at being able to just suspend my disbelief and just enjoy it for what it is. You know, there's the general vibe of the creepiness and the horrificness and like the mystery of this, you know, crazy puzzle box and its weird mystical evil powers and like, you know, this weird connection between our world and hell or whatever world these creatures are coming out of. And I do like the fact that, yeah, like, you don't get a whole lot of Pinhead in this. Like, maybe you know about it, so you're going into this expecting to see some, and like, you get a little bit, it's just enough to kind of keep you intrigued. I mean, you could see why this has inspired, you know, an entire slew of movies, you know, and just an entire franchise, you know, and because it's I don't know, it's a hell of a world that Clive Barker's created here, you know, and it's definitely perfect for Halloween. You know, this kind of just, I mean, horrific horror, you know, just unsettling. Like, this movie kind of gives you a little bit of everything. Maybe I could, you know, nitpick a little bit of the story here and there, honestly, but man, there's so many other great things about this, from the cinematography to the acting. So good. I can't give this anything less than 10 stars. It is so good. Even to this day, it is so good. Olivia?
I think this actually is a good film, but because of my personal taste, I don't like sit down in my free time and be like, I want to watch a horror movie, or like I wouldn't sit down and be like, oh, I want to watch Hellraiser or whatever by myself. But I think if we watched like one of the sequels or whatever, like I would watch it because like I watched the first one and I want to see what happens next or whatever. But I don't know. There's just, yeah. I think I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fair. That's you.
Hey, if it's not tickling you, it's not tickling you.
For me, I feel like the 80s, I mean, that's like when slashers got really, really big, and that trickled on into the 90s. And I feel like this was actually coming from a different angle, and I like that. And, I mean, in terms of like the practical effects, like especially for the time, I mean, this rivals anything from the time. There's a lot of iconic scenes in this movie just with the prosthetics. I mean, like the reveals of all of these different characters and creatures are terrifying. And like I said, I really enjoyed actually like spending time with this weird fucked up family. That's actually like where a lot of the drama and tension comes from. So, you know, I feel like this kind of surpassed my expectations upon second viewing, and I'm gonna go high, just like Rocket. I'm gonna go with a 9.
Oh, getting fancy with it there.
I also want to check out the book too. I'm intrigued
Right?
now. Yeah.
You know, Clive Barker's work is excellent, and I gotta say, like, I'm maybe coming from a different perspective altogether here. I gotta say, I feel like this is in the 1980s wheelhouse in terms of horror movies, generally speaking, because there was the slasher that were influenced by the giallos of the 1970s, and then you had this newfound fascination with special effects. So supernatural horror and, of course, Hellraiser were really big. They wanted to see something that stepped outside of the realm of realism with these serial killers that were just wearing masks and killing people from the shadows. They wanted to see what special effects artists could do with the special effects of the time period. So that was a huge part as to the appeal of Clive Barker, Hellraiser, Fangoria. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is something that cannot be dismissed.
I think
as
there was something also with this, you know, especially in the 80s, was that the whole satanic panic thing.
Stepped outside of a common serial killer. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, looking back on it, yeah, you can gripe, okay, so there's a lot of special effects. Maybe that falls flat for some people, but maybe it's more appealing because you've got this, you know, cosmic dread, and then you've got the psychosexual element. Clive Barker was definitely nuanced, the same way Stephen King was nuanced, the same way George Romero is nuanced. So I feel like when you look at movies like this, they're significant. They're a piece of pop culture history that transverses just simply calling it one thing or another. So out of 10 stars, I'm going to give Hellraiser, I mean, this is a classico. It's 10. It's 10 out of 10 for Tom. It's always been 10 out of 10, and it will always be 10 out of 10.
There you go.
Amber.
Yeah, I mean, like Olivia said, like, it didn't really keep my attention. I honestly, for how much I thought it was gonna be scary, it disappointed me because my child brain was more scared than my adult brain cared for. I kind of was like, I don't really care about like what's going on. Like, it wasn't freaking me out or anything. I wasn't like, oh, it's so scary.
So
I just
built
kind
it
of
up too much in your own mind.
Yeah, in my own mind, because I was a little kid, I was like, this is horrifying. And then as an adult, I'm like, this is not that scary. Like, but I think it's because I feel like it probably is missing a lot of things from the book. Because I don't know, I feel like I was missing a lot of explanation or story or something. Like, it doesn't give you anything in regards to what's going on, who these people are really. Like, you kind of know, but you kind of don't. Like, are they aliens that have power through this box? Are they supernatural? Are they demons from hell? Like, it doesn't really explain it. You can come up with whatever you want. I don't know. I would say, I think I'm gonna go more along the lines of Olivia and be like, this is like a 6 for me.
Wow, you've got top tier and you've got mid tier. I feel like that says quite a bit about not only the audience here, but about people's mentalities when it comes down to horror. I mean, generationally speaking, people view things the way they do. You know, they can't help it. You know, I mean, Amber's definitely younger than me, you know, and I come from the 1980s. So when I look at this movie, I'm able to maybe look past some of its shortcomings, and I understand that, yeah, in today's day and age of trilogies and 3-hour movies where they take a book and they expand upon it to like 7 films and it's super overbloated.
And I would actually say, like, because like practical effects are not something that they're not going to get enhanced that much. There is like a level that can be reached. But CGI, with the way I feel like technology is constantly changing, like, we can watch a horror movie like The Conjuring that's come out within the last 10 years and think it looks dated. But I think a lot of movies that are actually like heavy prosthetics and practical effects, usually across the board, can look pretty similar. The problem is now is that movies mix CGI and prosthetics, and it blurs the lines. But like, I actually think, like, if I watch The Thing and watch this and then watch a movie that's all prosthetics from this time period now, I feel like it doesn't look that different.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of the same techniques and stuff.
Well, there's like that water movie. The Shape of Water. That's real prosthetics.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a bodysuit, but like even
Yeah.
then, I mean, there's bodysuits from
And,
all
like,
over,
and that's
like,
not to
like
say-
Chatterbox is
Right.
terrifying.
Well, and that's not to say that, like, you
I did
know,
like his makeup.
films today don't nail it or don't get it. There's plenty of film directors today that get it, but like, even at that, like, my gripe from coming at that angle is, oh, they're making it with a modern sentiment. They're in on the joke. You know what I'm saying? I want to watch someone tell me a classic story that frightens. You know what I'm saying? That's what this was all about. Clive Barker was all about this. Stephen King was all about this. They were about taking something visceral and Americana or something that, you know, people can relate to and making it terrifying. And when it comes down to horror movies, fear and humor are almost one and the same. You know, laughing and laughing after a good scare are almost identical. You know, when someone comes around a corner, scares the bejesus out of you, you laugh and go, "You fucking asshole." When someone tells a really good joke, you go, "Ah, you fucking asshole." It's the same thing. It's that same relief. You're, you know, enjoying the sensation. So I hope we've dove deep enough into Halloween and what it means to be scary.